I often heard phrases like riding on parents' coattails and delusional bastard. I felt sorry for him, but he brought it upon himself. When Mike lost his bearings, he angrily lashed out at her.
Linda, acting all high and mighty after coming late. Come on, spit it out. Why were you late?
The man, yelling, had the same expression as when he blamed me over the goldfish incident. How does one end up with such an attitude?
You really want me to spill the beans?
At her composed response, Mike was flabbergasted. My name is Scott Johnson. On a Friday night, I was working alone in the factory where I'd been for many years. Well then, I guess I'll wrap things up for today. The computer in the small back office had long passed its prime, making suspicious sounds all the time. Today, it took its sweet time shutting down with a loud noise. There's this old, run-down screw factory on the outskirts of town, probably something you'd find on the edges of Pittsburgh. The limited company Fitzgerald Manufacturing is run by my uncle on my mom's side. I didn't see the point in stressing my mother out to go to college, so I started working at this factory right after high school. For 17 years now, I've been desperately learning skills and finding what I can do. The boss and the staff have a craftsman-like dedication to their work, and they're all incredibly skilled folks. They generously shared their knowledge with me and patiently guided me through the process. They treated me like their own son, sometimes showering me with love, and other times scolding me sternly. Having lost my father at a young age and being raised by my mother, I always looked up to them as father figures or elder brothers. But soon, I'll have to say goodbye to this place that means so much to me. It's strange how I've grown attached to this old computer, the squeaky chair, and even the broken fluorescent lights that haven't been replaced for years. While I was deep in thought, staring at the low ceiling, my phone in my pocket buzzed with a notification. It was from my best buddy, David. His message, filled with his usual unnecessary emojis and weird writing style, said, "Looking forward to the reunion tomorrow. Let's meet up and go together." I don't get why he adds crying faces and sparkles to every message. Quickly agreeing on a time, I ended the chat. Although I have my reservations, I'm excited to meet David and the rest of my friends. It's been so busy lately that I haven't had the chance to hang out with David. 17 years had passed since we graduated from high school. Tomorrow, we, now 35 years old, will have our school reunion. Even though we occasionally meet up for drinks, I've never attended a reunion before. I was actually thinking of skipping this one too. But, considering this year is a turning point in my life, David convinced me to attend this time. If Mike wasn't attending, it would be easier for me. I was reminded of all the bullying I endured from a classmate named Mike since elementary school. He hid my shoes, mocked me for coming from a single-parent home, made fun of me for being poor, broke the lead in my pencils, soaked my gym clothes. Each incident might seem trivial on its own, but when they keep happening day after day, it sure does take a toll on you. What really got to me was when I was in charge of our class pets back in 5th grade. Mike fed the class's goldfish way too much food, and as a result, we had to bury them behind the school building. No matter who tried to stop him or hide the food, Mike would just buy more and continue overfeeding them. Everyone was pissed at him. But then, when the goldfish died, Mike had the audacity to blame it on me since I was the one in charge of the pets. I can't forget the way his face lit up with excitement when he accused me. And when he found out I wasn't going to high school and was joining my uncle's business, he mocked me with that same excited look. But hey, we're adults now. I can't imagine him making fun of someone at 35. With those thoughts in mind, I cleaned up some documents and left the office. The next day, about an hour before the reunion, I met up with David at a cafe near the venue. It's been 2 months since we last hung out, and I was genuinely happy to see him. On our way to the venue, we bumped into other friends, and eventually, our group grew to about 10. Once inside, a lot of folks were happy to see me attending a reunion for the first time, and many approached me one after the other to chat. I saw Mike there too, but he kept his distance. As we all caught up, the reunion formally began with a toast, followed by greetings from our former teachers, all 4 of them. Pictures from 17 years ago flashed across a big screen. One of the teachers, who used to have thinning hair, now sported an afro wig. He even dramatically removed it on stage. I almost spit out my beer laughing, but apparently, it was his classic move. The hall was alive with laughter and chatter, and we moved into free time. As the MC was returning the microphone to its stand, suddenly, Mike stepped up to the stage. He smirked and shouted,
Look who's here today. The only guy here with just a high school diploma.
The hall started buzzing. David and the rest of my buddies gathered around, glaring at Mike as if protecting me. I've always had friends who stood by my side, which is why I kept going to school. Even when all my textbooks got torn up, even when my lunch for the field trip got covered in mud, even when my uniform was splashed with paint.
Scott Johnson, just a high school graduate, broke as a joke. Broke people don't even deserve to be here. Look at his shabby workplace.
One of Mike's cronies started messing around on a computer and the screen changed. It showed the factory where I worked. In the background of my down factory, there was a building surrounded by construction tarps. It must have been taken recently. Did he really go through the trouble to get this?
Scott's workplace. My company used to do business with them, but we ended the contract not long ago. They're going under, right? Sold the land the factory's on. There are tons of new buildings going up around it real fast.
Mike kept talking nonsense, ignoring the teachers and the reunion organizers trying to stop him. He kept mocking me, making the crowd cringe. David was about to step forward when a loud female voice rang out.
What the heck is this? Isn't today supposed to be a fun reunion?
Shouting from the back of the hall was our classmate, Linda. She was always surrounded by many friends and was seen as the leader of the class. Linda in a suit kept speaking in an assertive tone.
Sorry I'm late. Something came up at the office. I sneaked in from the back and Mike was giving some sort of speech, so I just waited quietly. But you seriously didn't change for a second, did you?
Linda continued, trying to hold back her anger. He let out a big sigh, a look of annoyance on his face, and said,
This is why I can't stand figurehead executives. Do you not know anything at all?
Excuse me? What's with the attitude? You're just an employee. Linda works at Thompson Electronics, where Mike's dad serves as the CEO. It's the largest company in our hometown, and several of our classmates work there. David, by the way, is one of them.
Just look at the picture behind you. You can see a building under construction. That's all Scott's new factory and office building. You mean to tell me you didn't know that, even though you work for a company in the same town?
Yes, the picture showed the construction of the new office building and the new factory next to the current factory. The small office space is moving to a 5-story building, and the factory is expanding with new lines, making it quite large.
Wait, what? That old rundown factory. If we cut ties with them, they'll go under in no time. But Scott must still be broke, right? He only graduated high school, so his salary must be low.
Despite the audience telling him, enough is enough, and let go of the mic, Mike didn't leave the stage. David suddenly spoke up.
Look, Mike, I get that you've always been jealous of Scott. He was popular and good at everything since forever.
Jealous? Don't make me laugh. Why would I be jealous of someone beneath me?
All right. But let me tell you, Scott here is set to become the CEO when the Fitzgerald manufacturing goes through its restructuring.
CEO? So what if he becomes the CEO of some unknown, small-scale factory? I'm going to be the next CEO of the well-known Thompson Electronics. Scott's place will probably go under with debts.
David, with a smug grin, nudges me with his elbow. I reluctantly decide to explain the situation. Well, since I joined our company, we've actually secured several patents. My uncle and the senior staff were rather indifferent to this kind of achievement despite their technical skills, and hadn't done anything like it before. Now, we're in the middle of a major contract with foreign railway companies, and our domestic orders keep increasing. We'll soon have a new factory, and both our staff and production rates are set to surge. There's no need for Thompson Electronics, who we don't do business with, to worry about us. Everyone's been putting in the hard work. That's right, I hear Linda chime in. Mike wears a frustrated expression. David then added fuel to the fire.
You know, Fitzgerald manufacturing screws and bolts are renowned for their durability and not loosening easily. Our quality control guys have been griping about it ever since we couldn't use Anderson's components. Our costs have gone up, and the thought of increased complaints really gives us heartburn. The tech at Scott's place is something else.
As if on cue from David's words, applause erupted from around them with voices saying congratulations. And that's so impressive. Soon, words pointing fingers at Mike started to mix in. I often heard phrases like riding on parents' coattails and delusional bastard. I felt sorry for him, but he brought it upon himself. Feeling cornered, Mike lashed out at Linda.
Linda, the nerve of you, coming in late and acting high and mighty. Can't even be on time. What are you? Incompetent with overtime? Or going around apologizing for mistakes? Come on, give me a reason.
Mike yelling had the same expression he did when he blamed me over the goldfish incident. How did he end up with such an attitude?
You really want me to spill the beans?
Spit it out. Let everyone hear how inept you are.
A while ago, a junior from our accounting department came to me with complaints about your sexual harassment and bullying. You told her that your role as internal auditor lets you get away with it, right? Doing hardly any work and acting so bossy, trying to use company money for whatever you like. When she told you that you can't expend strips to brothels, you insisted she provide the same service for free instead. Are you out of your mind?
Hey, wait, Linda, shut up.
Mike, descending from the stage and followed by two of his cronies, rushed towards Linda. I sensed danger and looked at Linda, but some guys nearby were already acting as her shield.
Linda, you're fired.
You think you have that kind of authority? The evidence of all the fraud you've committed. The entire accounting department dug it up. We've been working weekends too, and today's just a continuation of that. When we cross-reference with HR, everyone who processed suspicious receipts had resigned. There were so many who said they quit because of your harassment. Do you realize how many lives you've messed up? We're all set, and you're going to pay for this.
Damn it. I'm the next CEO. My dad will fix this.
Screaming that, Mike flung open the door and stormed out. Linda, after slamming the door shut, called out loudly,
Sorry for the commotion, folks. Let's have another round. Doc, what kind of wig are you wearing today?
Laughter filled the room. She's always been the life of the party, lighting up the room. The tension gradually eased, and from somewhere, voices saying let's have a drink and congrats on Scott becoming the CEO began to echo. Before long, the room was filled with cheers and toasts. Linda took a glass and approached me.
Sorry for making such a fuss, she said.
No worries, you had my back, right? Thanks.
You've always been head over heels for Scott, haven't you, Linda? Why don't you two tie the knot?
Well, with my assertive personality, I don't think marriage is for me. David, you're still single, right? Why don't you marry Scott?
Oh girl, stop it.
Everyone burst into laughter seeing David's embarrassed face. Now, there were voices saying, congratulations on your wedding. Though my first high school reunion started off rocky and I was concerned about Mike, who left, thanks to everyone, it turned out to be a blast. A few months later, Fitzgerald Manufacturing, now with a new building and expanded facility, is bustling with activity. Especially noticeable is my uncle, the former CEO. Even though he's now the chairman, he's working in the factory with more enthusiasm than anyone. The veteran employees continue to diligently handle intricate tasks, garnering admiration from the newcomers. Despite new machinery, there are tasks that only they can handle. It's not something just anyone can do. You can see people seeking guidance and striving just like I once did.
Scott, it's about time for the web meeting.
I got it. I'll be right back.
Man, Scott, you sure do love being in the factory. Always stepping out of your seat.
Truth be told, David had been slated to join us well before that reunion took place.
Come on, Scott and David. The other party is already logged in.
Linda pokes her head out from the door connecting to the second floor of the building. After the incident, Linda had been repulsed by the CEO, Mike's father, who tried to cover up evidence and was leaning towards resigning. But before doing so, she sought cooperation from a few decent executives and managers, including the vice president, and decisively executed the exposure of sexual harassment lawsuits and other scandals to the public. Soon after, both Mike and his father were promptly dismissed from their duties. Apparently, substantial compensation was paid by the company to the victims, including the young female colleague who were forced to resign due to Mike. And for those who were threatened by Mike and helped in the wrongdoing, the company promised not to pursue any responsibilities. Thompson Electronics has since been taken away from the Mike family and is striving to transform into an ethical company. Recently, one of David's former colleagues reached out with a potential new business deal. Depending on the terms, they hope for a good partnership, given both are from the same local business community.
Both of you, hurry up.
Linda's clear voice echoes through the corridor. David and I shrug, share a laugh, and rush off. The season is soon transitioning into winter. The soft autumn sunlight reflects off the office windows, sparkling beautifully.